Hey, I'm going to talk about emotions today and why they're important. First, let's consider the situation in which we do things even though we know it's going to be bad for us, or even though we know we don't want to do that. So, here's some examples from my recent past. The other night, I ate another piece of pizza despite being totally stuffed. Or I had another beer the other night, even though I really didn't want it. I really didn't need another beer, but I had another beer. So, why is it that we do things that we don't really want to do or that we know that they're bad for us? Here's the answer: to avoid feelings. So, in my line of work, we call this experiential avoidance. But basically, your feelings run everything. They motivate all your behaviors. The issue is you have this thing that sits on top of your shoulders, and it's a problem solver, and it likes to avoid problems and solve them, like problems like shitty feelings. So when you put these things together, we've got these emotions, they run our life. Once they're determined and our mind thinks that they're unpleasant and we don't want them, it goes to work solving those problems, which isn't necessarily bad. However, your mind doesn't really understand how time works. It doesn't understand what an accumulation of avoidance will lead to over time. So if you take an example, a common one like relationship conflict, so lots of us will just avoid conflict. And that works temporarily, but the problem is then what it leads to is like me stewing or angerness or bitterness, resentment, and then eventually blows up into a larger conflict, a more intense, unpleasant experience. And then if you take that over time, a relationship can grow more and more distant to the point where it's essentially kind of broken, and there's a lot of repair and there's a lot of pain that goes there, maybe separation, divorce, all the things that come with that. So here's the antidote to experiential avoidance, and that's just awareness. It's turning towards. So it's learning to name your emotions. And this is a practice for a lot of us. It's like kind of fundamental. It's like going back and learning in a new language. It's a emotional vocabulary. So to do this, I would suggest a mood log. There's lots of them on phones, apps. You could also just do it, piece of paper and pencil, the old-fashioned way. Feelings wheels is another great resource. There's a ton of them online. Just Google a feelings wheel. It gives you a whole wheel of different kinds of emotions. But the idea is that you could just familiarize yourself. So at certain intervals, every hour on the hour, or you could take every day of the week at breakfast, just asking yourself, like, what's the feeling state? What's the emotion that's here? And over time, you begin to kind of familiarize yourself with that. And as you become aware of that, then your mind does less avoiding of that because it knows what it is. It's less sort of fearful, essentially. And as you do this, what you're going to notice is that you're going to be more self directed. You're going to be able to make choices based on your principles or your values, what's most important to you, instead of making choices that are just simply based on avoiding difficulty. And that leads to more happiness, more peace, more contentment, living a more easeful life. So if you need any help or support doing that, you want to connect with me, please feel free to reach out. If there's anything that I want you to take away from this weekly wisdom update, it's just that identifying your emotions is going to lead to more choice in your life. So good luck with that. Until next time.